Well, Heather, thank you so much for joining us today. We're always excited to have you spend a little time with us. And, as we're dropping this episode, it's like the holiday season is full on, right? And so we know how busy it can be. And, we've got these simple steps that pop out every other week. I want to encourage you to make sure that you're following the show over on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, because you're not going to get those anywhere else. And as busy as it is over the next couple of months, you're not going to want to miss out on what we have to offer. So make sure you follow us, leave us a rating or a review. We would love to hear your feedback. Well, we've been working with blended family couples and living out our own blended family adventure for over 21 years now. Ooh. And we've become very aware of the hot topics, and I'm not talking about the store in the mall.
No.
And about the pain points as well that most couples seem to run into on this journey of raising kids while blending and merging families. And two of those hot topics that can quickly lead to pain points are parenting and special occasions, like the holidays, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And honey, I'd add a few more to that. Merging family traditions and mealtime.
Oh, why is it always the dinner table?
I know, dinner table drama when everyone is gathered around the table to eat.
For sure. And if you haven't already made this connection, the holiday season that's already upon us could likely stir up all these pain points to some degree or another, right? We've got high expectations around special occasions that are attached to pre-existing traditions, which will most likely include some festive mealtime, and we'll be facing a lot of parenting situations and challenges as we navigate all the activities and complexities of the season.
Oh boy, will we. And while we all hope to experience joy, peace, and meaningful family connection throughout the holiday season, unfortunately for blended families, this time of year can be fraught with chaos, tension, and disconnection. And we hate to break this to you, but we don't have a silver bullet solution to quickly reduce the tension and make everything ideal for everyone. Sorry.
Yep.
I know. If we had an easy answer or kind of that magic wand for instant joy, peace, and love, we would give it to you
For sure.
because we really want you to enjoy the holidays with your family. But that instant fix just isn't out there. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. And, that's a tough reality that we all have to be able to accept, to understand, and to be willing to face. But that certainly doesn't mean that we're just doomed to only experience chaos, tension, and disconnection.
Oh, no.
Like, we actually can be intentional and proactive in how we approach the holiday season, so that we're able to make strategic decisions that can help us avoid some of these pain points altogether and also prepare us to handle whatever may come our way.
Exactly. It's so awesome to be able to implement something new that can change a negative trajectory into a positive direction for your family. And you can do this.
Yep.
It's also awesome when you aren't blindsided by challenges that arise, right? We've all been there. And today's episode will help you to be proactive and prepared, which is valuable for blended family couples.
For sure.
Now, a couple years ago, we shared an episode here on the show where we talked about all of this, and it felt informative and insightful, and we kind of struggled to figure out how to enhance that, at least at this point in our journey, right? So for today, we'd love to offer you a chance to be reminded of those tips and strategies that we shared way back in episode 69, which originally aired December of 2020.
Yeah, maybe you caught it 2 years ago, but I doubt you remember all the details by now. And so we want to encourage you to listen in again and refresh your memory as you navigate the holiday season this year. And in this episode, we mentioned an upcoming episode, which, of course, actually aired back in 2020, where we explored some healthy habits around technology with kids. And we had our friend Rob Hayes St. Clair as a guest to share about that. And so he kind of prepared us for the holidays of what do we give to our kids a lot? Technology, right?
Yeah, or if the other home is going to be giving our kids technology.
Absolutely. So as you listen through that, we're going to make sure to put a link in the show notes for episode 70 as well, so that you can head back there and pick up some great ideas and insights for helping your kids develop healthy habits around technology, as well as any other episodes that we happen to mention. We'll make sure to link back to those too.
I think there's a few in there.
Yeah.
We are so glad you're here and that you're willing to be intentional and proactive in this season that can often create a lot of challenging pain points for blended families, because we want you to experience more of that peace, joy, and connection that you're really hoping for. So we encourage you to sit back, enjoy this rerun, and keep learning and growing by checking out the links in the show notes that we'll also include.
That's right. Okay, so let's dive in right on the other side of the intro. Welcome to the Blended Family Coaching Show, where you'll discover how to move your step family from just surviving to truly thriving.
Grab your headphones and listen in as we share practical, real-life strategies for building healthy bonds,
Understanding the kids' perspective,
romance and partnership,
parenting with great teamwork.
and yes, even co-parenting with a difficult ex.
We're Mike and Kim Anderson, and we believe with the right tools, every step couple can overcome the common challenges of step family life.
Join us for authentic and sometimes comical conversations to discover how you can lead your family with confidence and create the future you really want.
All right, so today we're going to dive into this whole holiday topic.
Yep, we are.
And we know that not only from our own personal experience, but almost 20 years of supporting other blended couples, that for many of us, the holiday season can be fraught with stress and sometimes just disappointment, if we're really honest.
Yeah.
And it's really the opposite of what we're hoping for each year, right? And often we're faced with challenging decisions around how to actually celebrate, kind of do the holidays together in a way that works well for everyone in the family.
It can be confusing.
And maybe one of the most difficult pieces of this is that it feels like these shouldn't be challenging decisions, right? It's the holidays. It's not supposed to be about, stress and disappointment. It's supposed to be about peace and joy and connection.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to be strategizing about how to navigate difficult blended family dynamics, right?
Well.
But like so many other things in blended family life, in order to experience that peace and the joy and the connection, we've just got to put a little intentionality into it. So today we want to talk about a healthy mindset for you to focus on throughout the season as you go about making holiday decisions together. And then we're going to give you some really practical tips around dealing with family traditions as well. Now, before we dive in, just a little plug for next week's episode that we're betting every blended family, and actually really first family couples, needs to hear. We're going to have a special guest with us discussing a specific type of Christmas gift that you may already have purchased, might be currently hidden, maybe it's wrapped and under the tree already. And what kind of gift is it, you ask? A new piece of technology or a new phone for the kids, right?
Uh-oh.
And that tends to be a challenging subject for just about every parent to navigate.
Yeah,
these
whether
days.
it's new or pre-existing.
That's right. But even more so, this can be challenging for blended families that are coping with the complexities of kids that are influenced by the other home around the appropriateness of giving and using technology.
Yeah.
You won't want to miss this episode, I promise you. Whether you're giving the kids tech this year or not, you're likely to be impacted by this whole tech thing in your home at one point or another. And all of us can use some help navigating the boundaries around tech with kids and stepkids.
Yep.
All right, so enough about next week. Let's dive into this week's topic. And first, we're just going to talk a little bit about a mindset that gets you in a good place before we really talk about the decisions that need to be made around the traditions for your upcoming holiday season.
Yeah. So this Christmas, honey, will be our 21st Christmas together. I know.
Wild.
And in those holiday seasons over the years, we've experienced just the full range of different outcomes, right?
That's right.
We've enjoyed a sweet, connected, and relaxed family Christmas, and we've also had really stressful ones with everyone feeling disconnected and a bit uneasy. So I'm a scrapbooker, and recently I was looking through an old scrapbook of one year when my daughter, Annika, was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
This was during the holidays and pictures of us celebrating Christmas together.
Yep.
And even though the pictures were of semi-smiling faces, or they were really faces that were kind of faking smiles, as I recall.
We've had a few of those.
And I remember how difficult that painful holiday was for us. It was far from what we'd hoped for. The reality was that throughout most of that year, things had been really stressful. Annika had been making a lot of poor choices that led to some serious consequences.
Yep.
And in general, parenting had been challenging, and she was going through a really rough phase. She was distant, rude, and dismissive to everyone in our family. So leading up to the holidays, what I wanted was for all of us to enjoy a relaxing time of celebration and family togetherness, right? That's what we all want. But in reality, we'd all been walking around on eggshells for months whenever Annika was around. I found myself hyper-focused on Annika's behavior and what I wanted from her on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it's easy to hyper-focus.
It is, and I don't think I'm alone here. We all want everyone to be on their best behavior during the holidays, right? We've gone to a lot of trouble to make it all so perfect, and often we're planning to celebrate with some extended family members, so we want things to go smoothly. And we don't want to have to experience the usual tension.
Yep.
Now, for blended family couples, the holiday season can stir up excessive worry and stress around how the kids are going to act and respond to what we've got planned. Couples worry about conflict erupting in the middle of what's supposed to be their family's joyous celebration. And if this happens, how will they be judged by their extended family when this special celebration is ruined?
That's a real worry. Yep.
Yeah. And I remember that one year feeling dread and concern as our holiday approached, because there were some very specific things that I wanted from my daughter. I wanted her to have a positive attitude and to engage in our celebration with gratitude and to treat everyone with kindness and respect. I wanted her to be on her very best behavior. I was so overwhelmed with anxiety just imagining what might happen based on what we'd been experiencing with her behavior recently.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but here's the question I wish I would have stopped and asked myself back then. And if you're feeling anxious in this way, if you can relate to what I just shared, we want to challenge you to ask yourself this question now. What would it look like to focus more on what you want for your kids rather than what you want from them?
What if you could experience a community that's all about healthy support, guidance, and practical strategies that help you thrive in your blended family? Well, now you can. Blending Together is a supportive community for blended family couples just like you.
We've educated and supported hundreds of couples navigating the unique challenges of blending a family. Now we're inviting you to join our community and experience the transformation that awaits you. But you'll need to act fast because we're getting started soon. Blending Together is not just another community. It's a place where you'll find practical, real-life strategies for building unity as a couple.
And creating more connection as a family.
Experiencing partnership in parenting.
And even dealing with that difficult ex.
Blending Together is a safe, growth-focused space where you get to connect with us and, maybe more importantly, with other blended family couples who truly understand what you're going through. Along the way, you'll discover practical tools, guidance, and hope that empower you to find a future full of confidence and connection.
When you join Blending Together, you'll get to hop into a variety of resources like access to our private Facebook group and online learning platform, monthly coaching meetings, monthly Q&As, and you'll even get to vote on the content for our monthly workshops.
Blending a family can often leave couples feeling alone or isolated and stuck. And quality support can sometimes be expensive. That's why we're offering you access to all of this at a super low monthly rate. Because every blended family deserves the opportunity to thrive, regardless of their budget.
That's right. So join us in the Blending Together community and unlock the secrets to successful blending. Together, we can create a future filled with hope, connection, and peace. But don't wait. Click the link in the show notes now. The doors will be closing on October 8th, and you don't want to miss out on this unique opportunity to create the future you really want alongside other couples who genuinely get it. Mm-hmm. Hey, we can't wait to meet you there. Wow, that sounds like a really simple question, but it's actually quite profound.
Yeah.
Shifting this focus of from to for requires some serious thought and a little extra energy.
It really does.
That can be difficult in the hectic holiday season. We know that. But we can definitely tell you from experience that it's well worth the effort.
Yes.
Focusing on what you want for the kids is going to increase your empathy and your gratitude and even your generosity. And not just generosity in gifts, but really in generosity of
how you show up for them.
That's right. And ultimately for you, it starts to lower your anxiety as well. So if you're willing to shift your mindset in this way, it can set you up for some more realistic and successful blended family experiences. So as we go through this discussion today, as we talk about these holiday traditions and planning and all that, we ask you to consider all of this through the lens of what you truly want for your kids. That's the mindset that you want to start with. And it's an important mindset because staying focused on what you want from them is actually going to create added stress in your home.
Yeah, that's where I was that year. Yeah. That's for sure.
When you're focused on what you want from the kids, they can feel it. They likely experience a sense of pressure and expectation. And don't get us wrong here. We're not asking you to toss out your family values of respect or kindness and just stop holding boundaries with them. We're simply making a subtle shift in our focus. Every time we feel ourselves getting frustrated with their response, or in some situations, their lack of response, we might do well to remember this, that maybe this child isn't giving me a hard time, but they're just having a hard time. Remember that they're likely navigating a lot of emotions and worries too. They're moving between two homes that probably have different types of celebrations going on, and they're feeling plenty of expectations on them that could feel frustrating. Maybe they're having a hard time, and what they need most from you is to lower the pressure. And shifting your focus toward what you want for them can actually help ease some of that subtle pressure that no one can necessarily see, but everyone can feel.
Oh, yeah. So with that kind of mindset, we want to help you navigate this holiday season in a way that will honor and care for everyone in your blended family while creating a sense of newness and family connection as well. Because this is ultimately what most of us really want. And we can do this using what we're calling the 3 R's.
Yes.
Which are refreshing, releasing, and revealing.
Ooh, refreshing, releasing, and revealing.
But before we dive into that, let's call out a tendency that many of us have to implement some fairly dramatic changes around special occasions and the traditions that are also attached to those celebrations.
Yep.
When we're blending families, most of us want to experience something new, right? We don't want to be stuck in the old way of doing things, things that might stir up painful memories for us. And we often assume that it's going to be fun to create a lot of new holiday traditions together and that everyone is going to have a great time, right?
Yeah, why not?
Right, let's leave the past in the past and get on with our new holiday adventures. And this can seem like a really good idea, one that will help everyone in the family to move on, right? But an easy wrong turn most of us make in trying to create this newness is to inadvertently ignore or neglect the holiday history of the kids.
Yeah.
We're ready to move on, and sometimes we mistakenly assume that the kids will be eager to join us.
What, they're not?
No, because if you've taken the time to understand the kids' perspectives, you'll already know that every child in a blended family has experienced loss, and they've had to deal with a whole lot of changes they probably didn't want. And most likely, they're feeling powerless.
Yeah.
So many things are out of their control, and their lives have been deeply impacted by all of these changes.
That's right.
So our perspective as the adults is usually very different than our kids. We've emotionally moved on. We've made our own choices, and we're excited about creating a new happily ever after, right?
That's right.
But this isn't the reality of most kids. In fact, for many kids, they're still reminded of the history every time they go to that other parent's house, and maybe they're still living old routines and traditions there in the other home. So expecting the kids to just move on and leave their past behind is unrealistic, especially in those early years of blending. And when we really think this through, it's not what we really want for our kids either.
That's right. And it's really important for us to think this through. We're going to focus on some of the bigger holiday traditions today, like the activities that we're going to do throughout the season and the big celebratory meals and all of that stuff. But the truth is, sometimes it's just the little things that can be viewed very differently from our child's perspective. Here's a simple example that we share in one of our online courses for step couples. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes for a second and just imagine that you're my stepchild. So here's Mike, your stepdad. And, you've been already through a whole deluge of changes, and most of those you didn't ask for. Now, you grew up enjoying a special breakfast on Christmas morning that included an omelet that, in your opinion, was pure and unadulterated by things. None of those slimy onions or strange meats, and certainly no weird cheeses on it. You like your omelet made with just two things, a good amount of ham and lots of cheddar cheese, and served with plain white toast. Now, not knowing any of those details, I've decided to make you a very special stepdad omelet, just like the kind I grew up eating on Christmas morning. I've chopped up some lovely mushrooms, some onions, and some peppers. Oh, and I've included the ham all right, but I've also added some spicy sausage to give it a little kick. Oh, and I'm kind of concerned that your omelet might get lost in a sea of greasy cheese. So I've just put a little bit of Swiss cheese inside, and then I finished it off by sprinkling some healthy feta on top of your tasty omelet. And then I serve my thoughtful creation with a piece of crunchy whole wheat toast with just a light spread of butter. Now, because you're a fairly kind-hearted kid, you're willing to at least try this omelet. And as you bite into my omelet, I wait with anticipation from your response. Now, what are the chances that you're going to say to me, "Thank you, Mike, for introducing me to this new kind of omelet on this glorious Christmas morning"? Like we listen to this story, we put ourselves in that position, and we can imagine what it might be like. And this is a kind of a silly example.
Yeah.
But the truth is, our stepfamilies are full of these little tiny Christmas omelet experiences. You see, in blended family life, we all kind of jump in together and we set out on this new journey. But we have very little context for the history of each other, and certainly in the big things as well as the little things. And the lack of context actually keeps us leaning into our own history. We're trying to drag others into our world and into our preferences rather than learning about their world and their preferences and moving toward them. So again, we've got to ask ourselves, what is it I want for the kids? Most likely, you want all the kids to be comfortable in your home, to experience an atmosphere that's somewhat familiar. You might want them to feel personally connected, whether it's the holidays or not, right? You want them to be relaxed and able to be themselves. You probably want them to feel known, to be understood and heard. So we've got to explore how you can go about creating all those things that you want for your kids as you plan the holiday festivities. And we suggest using our 3 R's: refresh, release, and reveal.
Now, refresh and release are actually done in tandem. And your first steps is to simply create some space for each child to express their feelings and thoughts about their past experiences and traditions around the holidays.
Yeah.
So ask them what they look forward to the most during the holidays and what's important to them. Ask them to share their favorite holiday memories and then affirm them as much as possible. even if this feels a bit painful or even threatening for you.
That's a great point, honey. You know, for step parents, it might feel like you're competing a little bit with the past, or maybe you're competing with that bio parent in the other home. It could stir up some feelings of that stranded stranger, right? Being stuck on the outside. But I want to challenge you to work on changing your thinking and focus on how you can support some of your stepchild's history. Step parents, one of the greatest gifts that you can give your stepkids is to intentionally discover their history and find some really simple ways to honor it. This really goes beyond holiday traditions as well, and it actually applies to just everyday routines.
Yeah, definitely. Now, for bio parents, it may feel a little bit threatening to you or even painful if your kids bring up stories and memories from the past that you shared with your ex-spouse. And while you may really want to forget those experiences and leave them in the past, your kids may not feel the same because this is their authentic history. Recalling happy times from their first family may be part of the process that kids need to grieve what has been lost and to cope with their new reality. It really is a gift to your kids when you're able to put your own emotions aside and create a safe space for them to reminisce and revisit their past. This is the best way for you to not only honor where they're at emotionally, but also for you to gain clear understanding around what's still important to them, which may be very different than where you're at and what's important to you. So as you're having these conversations with the kids, you're simply allowing them to process and you're gathering information. Okay, you aren't making any promises.
Good point.
It's really good if you can affirm what they've shared without making any commitments. So something like, yeah, you know, I remember that too. How much fun we had sledding on Christmas Day. Man, you flew down that hill. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. And, you know, step parents, you can do that same thing, not making commitments, but still affirming, maybe saying something like, oh, wow, that was a really cool story. Thanks for sharing that. I'm glad you had so much fun when your mom baked gingerbread for you to make those festive houses.
Yeah.
What kind of candy did you put on the house, right? And just show some interest.
Exactly. So you're just asking them to share a favorite tradition and memories. You're listening and then affirming their experiences without promising anything at this point.
Great.
And as you go through this process, make a list of what you hear from them. Don't rely on your memory here. Okay, you've got enough to think about. Get what you hear down on paper. Even if you don't think you can make it happen, just write it all down, and we're going to use that a little later. Your next step is to ask yourselves the same questions. What are some of your favorite holiday traditions and preferences? What's important to you? Write all the things that each of you would like to do this holiday as a family, and keep in mind that there may be some specific things you'd like to do with just your bio kids or just your step kids, some one-on-one things. Maybe you have some ideas around that quality one-on-one time. Now, you might want to go through this process together as a couple, or you could spend a few minutes individually just writing a list of what's important to you. There's really no wrong or right way to go about this.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, the next step is really simple. Look for any common ground. Now, these are things that you want to refresh as much as possible, which really means that you're honoring the past of each person in your family by keeping those traditions alive, refreshing them each year to bring a sense of stability and fun to the season for everyone.
That's great.
Maybe you notice common ground between the majority of what the kids want to maybe cut down a tree at the local tree farm and decorate it as a family. Maybe that's part of their history and they'd like to continue that tradition. And both of you are also excited about that activity as well. Go ahead and start a new list, your refresh list of how you'll celebrate by preserving some of the past traditions each of you really love and have some agreement around. Now, that's the easy part. The next step is a little bit tougher. That's our second R, which is release.
Yeah.
Take a look at the items that are left on your original list and have an honest conversation about what you just can't make happen this year. You can't do it all. This gives you a chance to work as a couple to agree on what traditions you'll let go of this holiday season, what you'll be able to just kind of release.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an important conversation, especially for you as a couple, because it helps you proactively let go of some disappointment and maybe even some guilt.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but there have been some holiday seasons where I've been disappointed because it just seemed like we couldn't do it all.
Yeah.
And blended families often come with lots of traditions because we have multiple family histories and we can be overwhelmed really quickly.
Sure.
And chances are you can't do it all either, especially with all the logistics and all the challenges of kids' visitation schedules and everything that's going on. But when you're able to have an intentional conversation around what you're going to give yourselves permissions to release, you'll reach the end of that season with fewer disappointments and likely feel more relaxed and hopeful as you move into the new year.
That's a really great
that
point.
Sounds good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to start by making your holiday celebration decisions by first refreshing those old traditions that the kids and you, right, are still emotionally attached to as best you can, which that's really about honoring everyone in your family.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be really intentional about those traditions that you're going to release or let go of, all through the lens of what you want for the kids, not what you're expecting from them.
That's great. Yeah. So that's the first 2 R's. And now that you've figured out what you want to refresh and release, it's time to move on to the next R. And after that, we're going to give you some pointers on how to really get the kids engaged this holiday season.
Yeah.
So our final R is reveal. This is all about the new traditions that you want to create for your family. Earlier, we talked about how challenging it can be for blended families when couples try to make big, dramatic changes to holiday traditions. And while that's true, it doesn't mean you can't create new memories together and reveal over time what works best for your family.
Absolutely.
You can think of it like a big experiment. Maybe you'll try just 1 or 2 new things each year and see which ones stick. And when you're considering these new traditions, make sure that you think about what's practical and how you're going to manage the tensions and keep stress low, even when everyone is together.
Yeah.
Don't come up with big, elaborate plans, right? Try little things.
It's really about alleviating the pressure.
Exactly. Now, to get some creative juices flowing, we're just going to share some ideas that we've heard, as well as some of our favorite traditions that have been really revealed for us over the years. And we've put a link in the show notes to the iMom website. And this website has a ton of fun holiday ideas for families. And I think you'll find some great things there.
For all ages.
But to get us started, we're just going to brainstorm some things that you might like to try. And don't forget to consider that one-on-one time with bio parents and their kids.
So
Kim
important.
talked about that a little while ago. So you might start by just remembering that tension for blended families tend to be highest when everyone's together.
Yeah.
So it can be helpful to create some one-on-one time throughout the season. Like I said, we mentioned that earlier, and it's actually one of our favorite strategies for reducing tension. But often couples object to this, especially around the holiday season. They'll say, well, gee, if our goal is to connect and bond as a family, then having one-on-one time feels like we're doing just the opposite, that we're disconnecting.
Yeah.
But the truth is that focused time alone with a bio parent is really beneficial for kids because it gives them assurance and security that they need as their family is blending.
They absolutely need that.
And when a child has received that assurance through some quality one-on-one time with the bio parent, they're more apt to be able to relax when everyone in the family is together. They won't feel as much of a need to compete for their parents' attention because they won't be feeling as insecure in their relationship with them. So one-on-one time spent connecting with a bio parent is definitely going to pay off during the family time later.
Yeah.
Now, one practical idea around one-on-one time during the holidays is just to take one or more of the bio kids shopping for gifts or grocery shopping for a special meal or buying fun decorations. I mean, anything that might contribute to your family's celebration, you can involve the kids. Try to make it fun and exciting and really a one-on-one connection time, right? Take them to lunch while you're out, or maybe grab a special treat or run through the coffee shop, whatever it is that really creates some just fun and enjoyment.
Yeah.
The main goal is to make a deposit of quality one-on-one time with each child prior to family gatherings to help ease the tensions and help the kids relax a bit more. And step parents, if things are going really well for you and your step kids right now, you might consider figuring out how you can enjoy some holiday one-on-one time with your step kids as well.
Absolutely.
It's not just for bio parents.
All right, so we're going to brainstorm with you a bit and talk about some practical family activities and traditions that you might consider. First, remember to choose something that everyone can engage in, right? Make it age appropriate and something that all the kids have the ability to be involved with.
Sure.
And this can be tough if you've got a wide range of
have
ages.
that. Yep.
Yeah, we definitely found that to be somewhat challenging. But even if it's an activity that doesn't necessarily need focused engagement, like watching a Christmas-themed movie together, try to choose one that everyone can enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one tradition that we've enjoyed from the beginning of our blending journey is choosing our tree at a local U-Cut Christmas tree farm and cutting it down together as a family, then coming home and decorating it. And at 25 years old, our daughter Annika, she still loves to engage in this tradition. Yep. And when our mutual kids were toddlers, they even were able to participate.
Yeah.
Now, if family time in the past has been difficult or stressful, choose an activity that's short and simple. Maybe one that really doesn't require much engagement at all. One that we started not too long ago is on Christmas Eve when everyone is in bed. Mike and I, we hide a brand new ornament on the tree, one that the kids have not seen before. And ours is always on the theme of the Christmas story. And so that's our kids' clue. Now, in the morning, the deal is the first child to find the new ornament on the tree gets to open the first gift. And this is just a fun tradition that doesn't require a lot of actual family time, but it's something unique to our holiday experience. And it also makes Christmas morning fun, and it settles that issue of who gets to start in on the gifts first.
Yeah, that's right. That's fun. All right. Now, what if we've been having a lot of struggles around something like the dinner table recently?
Yeah, that's common.
Think about how you can take the pressure off, especially if you're expecting good behavior around something that's proven to bring out the worst in blended family life. It's okay to change things up. So instead of a big pressure-filled formal sit-down dinner, you might consider doing more of a buffet or serving some sort of dish that has to be cooked individually and served more informally, where people are just kind of hanging out with each other and eating rather than really being forced to sit down and interact all at one time. One of our favorite ways to do this is with what we call quesadilla night. We've got a quesadilla maker and we pull it out. It's kind of like a waffle iron. We spread out a bunch of ingredients and different options, and each person that's there gets to create their own individual quesadilla. Of course, the younger kids might need a little assistance with this, but that's fine. Now, the actual cooking of each quesadilla takes some time and it has to be individual. And so everyone ends up kind of eating a little different intervals. Some eat slow, some eat fast, and some don't even get theirs made until the first person's already done. But it's really informal. And we've found that our family really enjoys creating their own quesadilla and seeing what everybody else creates. And there's just not that much pressure around it.
You can do it with waffles too.
Yeah, exactly. So don't get too hung up on cultural expectations around this. If a formal dinner sounds like a bad idea in your situation, then don't be afraid to change it up and make mealtime work for your family.
Absolutely. Also consider hands-on activities where you're all together, but you're also working individually at the same time. So things like baking and decorating cookies or creating gingerbread houses, maybe doing a holiday craft, decorating the house, the tree, or putting up festive lights together. This gives the whole family that sense of accomplishment and gives each child a specific task that they can focus on. So give each person a job.
That's great. And maybe sometimes think about changing up the scenery, even if it's just for a few hours out of the house. Maybe driving around looking at Christmas lights while you have a cup of cocoa or something. Visiting a place that you've never explored before. Outdoor activities can be a good thing to do. Hiking, sledding, anything that gets everyone out of the house and experiencing something new and fun.
Yeah. Another idea is to start a family Christmas collection of some kind. We've been collecting nutcrackers for years.
That's right.
Every year we buy a new nutcracker, and the kids have a blast shopping and selecting our family's nutcracker for the year.
We have a lot of
Yep,
them now.
and then they're all proudly displayed in our growing collection, and the kids have fun putting the collection together too.
Sure.
So think about something specific, or even ask the kids if there's something they'd like to collect as a family, and then you can go on a hunt.
That's right. Well, one of my favorites is creating family adventure. And one of the ways that we've done this with our kids that they just tend to love it is what we call an ornament challenge. So we each secretly write kind of a funny ornament theme on a slip of paper, and we put all those themes in a Santa hat. Over the years, we've picked things like a musical theme or floral or glittery or mystical creatures.
Yeah.
Somebody had to get like a dragon or something once. Yeah, food. And then we head to our local craft or department store, wherever we decide we want to buy those ornaments from.
Who's ever having a big sale.
Yeah, that's right. And each of us then picks a theme from the Santa hat, and we hand out a $5 bill to everyone. And here's the challenge. You have to buy the ornament that's with your theme for under $5, and that includes tax if you have tax wherever you're living. So this tradition has been really fun, and it's really simple family adventure. It's a challenge that we all get to engage in. And then on our way home, we head through a drive-through, maybe a coffee shop, get something yummy to drink. And when we get home, we can add all the new treasures to the tree. It's really fun.
So get creative. Search the internet for ideas, ask friends, and then try something new with your family. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Keep it small, keep it simple, fun, and engaging. Don't overdo this or get overwhelmed with a ton of new traditions. Just try one or two new things, and some of these might come from the list that the two of you made up, your personal preferences, maybe something you grew up doing that you feel your family might also enjoy. And then see how it goes. Keep your expectations in line here,
right.
okay? Your ideas might fly or they might flop. But whatever happens, you'll be revealing what you want to continue the next year and maybe what you want to avoid.
That's right.
But have fun with this and get creative.
All right. Now you've got what you need to make some decisions. You've got your refresh list. Those are the traditions that honor everyone's history and create a sense of stability. You have your release list, which are those things that you're going to give yourself permission to let go of, knowing that you just can't do everything. Yeah. And finally, you've just brainstormed your reveal list, which are those new traditions that you'd like to try and see if they stick. Now, when you look at the refresh and the reveal list, you might notice that between all the kids' preferences and your own, maybe the ideas are all over the map. Yeah. Everyone wants something different, and you're just not sure that everyone's going to be able to engage in certain activities. Well, here's one approach you might take. Have an informal family discussion. Come prepared with those different ideas and several options to present to the kids. Those are the things from the refresh and the reveal list that you've agreed on as a couple are doable. You should both genuinely be okay with everything that's on these lists. Don't suggest anything to the kids that you're not both in agreement with. Then just share with the kids all the possible options and ask for their feedback. Now, you're not necessarily promising anything here. You're simply asking for their input. Let the kids know the kinds of things you're hoping for them this holiday season. If you're hoping that they feel relaxed and they have fun and they enjoy the celebration, then let them know that. If you're hoping to include activities that each child is looking forward to or prefers, let them know that. And this is something that you want for them. And you might also want to convey that you need their help and you'd appreciate their input as you plan the family's activities. Having a family meeting can take a lot of the guesswork out of all this because you're able to see the kids' responses to each idea and gauge what really needs to be a priority for your family and what you might possibly let go of even on these lists.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you first talked with the kids individually to create your refresh list, you know, they might have shared a precious family memory from their first family's holiday celebrations that doesn't necessarily mean that they want to reenact that memory with their blended family and with their step relations. They might just have been answering your question, right? But not particularly expecting to experience that again. So be mindful of that. And during the family meeting time, carefully watch each child's body language, Listen closely to what they share, and don't be afraid to ask some clarifying questions like, is this something that's important to you? Or is there something else that you'd rather try this year?
Very direct. That's good.
Yeah. You know, sometimes as parents, we can get really hung up on traditions that we feel are meaningful.
Yeah.
But be willing to consider if it's really as important as you think it is, right? Maybe the kids aren't all that attached to some of those old traditions, but they're just actually feeling a bit more concerned about other things, like if they'll receive gifts from their step-grandparents or other extended family members. Yeah. That can be something that's weighing on our kids. So ask questions that open up opportunities for the kids to share what's really on their heart. You might directly ask if there's anything they're worried about or anything they're wondering. Let the kids know that you'll be trying some new things this Christmas, as well as doing things that are familiar to them. Without going into lots of details, you can give them an idea of what they can expect.
That's right. And having this family meeting can really increase their engagement because it gives them a sense of inclusion when it comes to the final decisions. Kids often have a sense of powerlessness. And one of the things that helps is when they get to give input that's genuinely considered. Plus, it creates a sense of anticipation about things that they're probably excited for. Maybe you'll simply say, thanks for the input, and then surprise them throughout the season without telling them when or where you're going to do which activity. And make your family meeting fun. Maybe you can have some hot cocoa or include a yummy snack. Play some Christmas tunes in the background and turn on the twinkle lights. Make it engaging and fun for them.
Some kids do need to know what's coming up, though. So for those kids, you want to let them know in advance. It depends on their personality.
That's right. You know your kids better than we do. Yeah. So there you go. Now you can use the 3 R's to create a little more connection and peace this holiday season. It's refresh, release, and reveal. And all the while, you're staying focused on what you want for the kids, not getting hyper-focused on what you expect from them. They may not respond exactly the way you'd like. You could get some resistance, some conflict might erupt. Keep your expectations in line, but keep your hopes high as you plan your holiday celebration and honor everyone in your blended family.
Yeah. You know, when I look back on our past holiday experiences, the most relaxed and connected ones were the ones where we kept our own expectations realistic.
Yeah, that's true.
We took the pressure off and focused on what was most important for our family. And, you know, for most of us, it's really about everyone feeling unconditionally loved and accepted. My daughter Annika struggled for years not knowing where she belonged. Moving between 2 separate families was confusing and left her wondering if she really fit into either family dynamic. It was really tough. So what I wanted for Annika back then and now is that she knows that she belongs. Regardless of her choices or how she behaves, she will always be a valued member of our family. And I really feel this is something we all want for our kids throughout the holidays and beyond. So we want to encourage you to engage your family during the holiday season in practical ways that honors the traditions from everyone's history while introducing new traditions into your blended family.
That's right.
But we know this topic is just one thing that can make the holiday season stressful for blended families.
That's true.
So as always, we want to equip you even beyond this episode, and that's why we've included resources in the show notes to help you with other things, like protecting your family from favoritism and holiday budgeting, as well as visitation negotiations with the ex, and cope with your own holiday blues if this is the every other year that your kids will be spending the majority of the holidays in their other home. That can be really tough. So check those out and be proactive this year so that you can make the most of every bonding opportunity and don't get stuck in disappointment.
Yeah, that's right. Now, don't forget to join us next week when we're going to connect with that special guest to discuss the 5 ingredients that can help all of us navigate the challenges of technology with our kids and teens. This is something all of us need to be attentive to as parents.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
But that makes this episode a wrap.
Until next time.